Hello, Kinderlach. When the Frierdica Rebbe was just 15 years old, together with his father, the Rebbe Rashab, he used to travel everywhere, and they used to go very often to the city of Lubavitch, where old Rebbetzin Rivka lived. Rebbetzin Rivka was the Rebbe Rashab's mother, and the Frierdica Rebbe's Bobby, his grandmother, and they would come to visit. And she was always so happy. They would bring her tea and food and things like that. But one week, it wasn't the day of the week when the Rebbe would usually go visit, but the Rebbe Rashab called his son, the Frierdica Rebbe, and he said, "Come, we're going today." And the Frierdica Rebbe said, "Really? Why? Today isn't usually the day that we go visit Bobby Rivka." And the Rebbe Rashab said, "Because today I want to take you to the resting place, to the Beis of the Tzemach Tzedek and the Rebbe Maharash, because it is your birthday. You're turning 15 years old." And when they were there, the Rebbe Rashab told his son, the Frierdica Rebbe, he said, "My dear son, Yosef Yitzchak, I want you to commit yourself that all your life you will strengthen Torah and mitzvahs here in Russia, even with Mesiras Nefesh, even if it means having to give up your life for it." And young Yosef Yitzchak, the Frierdica Rebbe, said, "Yes, Tati, I will. I give my word. I commit myself that I will, even till Mesiras Nefesh, give my life to spread Torah and mitzvahs and keep Torah and mitzvahs alive here in Russia and the rest of the world too." Children, as the Frierdica Rebbe grew and became bigger, his tati, the Rebbe Rashab, went up to Shamayim, and the Frierdica Rebbe became Rebbe. During the time that the Frierdica Rebbe was Rebbe, a very evil regime took over Russia. They were the communists, and they said, we say everyone is equal. Everyone is the same. You can't say anyone is greater than others. Not even Hashem. Not even God. There can be no more teaching about Hashem in Russia. Yep. No more doing bris milah. No more having mikvahs and kosher food. And children, the Russians became terrible. And one of the worst things they did was, they said, "That's it. No more Jewish chadarim. No more yeshivas. From now on, everyone has to come to the Goyish public school." Yeah, and in our Goyish public school, we don't say anything about Hashem. And if anyone is caught teaching Torah or teaching about Hashem, they're going to be taken away and put in Siberia, put in prison, and they're going to end their life. Rahman al-Islam. Children, the Russians were very, very bad. And many Yidden got very scared. And they said, "Oh no, what should we do? We'll just stop keeping our shuls opened and our mikvahs, and we won't do any more Jewish schools." And the Frierdica Rebbe said, "Chas v'shalom. We can't stop teaching our kinderlach Torah. We can't stop making bar mitzvahs and making sure that Jewish boys put on tefillin, or making bris milah for our little babies. We have to secretly take the Yiddish babies and make them a bris milah, and we have to secretly spread mitzvahs like tefillin and mezuzah and kashrus." But most importantly, the Frierdica Rebbe said, "Kinderlach, we have to keep teaching Torah. We can't stop teaching Torah to the little kinderlach. Have you forgotten when Hashem came to give the Jewish people the Torah? And Hashem said, who's going to be our guarantors to make sure we always keep the Torah?" And the Jewish people said, "Hashem, we promise that we will always teach Torah to our little Ingelach and our Meidalach, the little boys and the little girls. And only in the merit of that did Hashem say, yes, I'm going to give the Torah to the Jewish people. Because so long as the Jewish children learn Torah, they grow up and they become big daddies and big mummies, and they keep learning Torah. And then when they have children, they teach them Torah and they teach it to them. And when they grow up and become big daddies and mummies, tatis and mummies, they pass it on to their children. And in this way, Torah stays forever and ever. And the Frierdica Rebbe said, we absolutely must keep our chadarim open. We'll keep them in secret. We'll have secret chadarim. And children, the Frierdica Rebbe sent many of his Hasidim to go and make secret chadarim all over Russia. They'd go in basements and in people's attics, and they would sit with little kinderlach, and they would teach them the Aleph Beis. They would teach them Torah, and the kinderlach knew to be very quiet and to sneak in and go shh. He said, but let's whisper quietly. And they would quietly teach them Aleph Beis and Torah Tziva and Bereshis Bara and teach them Torah. The Frierdica Rebbe created children over 600 secret chadarim all over Russia. And the Yidden stayed strong because so long as Jewish kinderlach, so long as Jewish children learn Torah, they know about Hashem. They know to wake up in the morning and say, what do we say when we wake up in the morning, children? Moda'ani. And before they eat something, they say a bracha. And so the Jewish children kept on learning Torah. And they kept saying, we'll go in secret to the Frierdica Rebbe's secret schools, in the basements and in the attics, and shh, don't let the Russians find out. But children, the Russians put a lot of spies all over the place. They were called the Yevsektia. They were very sad. They were very not nice people. And they said, ha! We are actually Jewish. But when we were little, we never learned anything about Hashem or the Torah. Well, we don't like anything Jewish. Ha ha! We're going to go and catch the Frierdica Rebbe. And children, they started going around and they said, yeah, we're going to go tell the big Russian communists. Did you know what? The Frierdica Rebbe's made secret chadarim, secret Jewish schools. How do you think the Jewish people staying so strong and keeping Torah and keeping mitzvot? How do you think that these children know so much? We don't know. We said they have to come to our Russian schools. Well, ha ha! They just pretend they're going to your Russian schools. After that, they go to the Frierdica Rebbe's secret schools. And they're learning Torah. And they're learning about Hashem. And the Russians got very angry and they said, oh, go get the police. And the Russian police came. And children, it was late at night. They came to the Frierdica Rebbe's house. Banging on the door. And the poor Frierdica Rebbe was very tired. The whole day he had seen people. And he had been trying to help Yidden. And in his house, the Frierdica Rebbe had many files. And his cabinets, papers and papers that were written in them, all the names of all the secret Rebbes, the secret teachers, all over Russia, who were teaching Jewish people Torah, teaching Jewish children Torah. And he would send them money to pay them so they could continue to work and teach Jewish children Torah. But he had lots of files in his house, papers and papers that were written in them, the names of all the different Rebbes and where all the different secret schools were. And suddenly, the Russian police show up at his door. They bash on the door. Open up! Open up! Open up! And the Frierdica Rebbe came and he said, what's the matter? Am I doing something wrong? And they said, we came here to search your house. Open, we need to check everything. and they start to scream and to bellow and push people around. Now, children, in the house was the Frierdica Rebbe's wife and his daughters and his old mommy, Rebbetzin Shterna Sarah. And as soon as Rebbetzin Shterna Sarah saw them, she thought, oh no, the NKVD, the Russian police are here. And we've got all these files in the house that's written in them. All the secrets of where the secret Jewish schools are. So Jewish children can continue learning Torah. And they're going to find it. And she got very scared, children. And she started to scream. Wah! Now, children, she's even more than being scared. She really wanted the policemen to leave. She was afraid they would come and take her son, the Frierdica Rebbe, and they would hurt him and put him in prison. And so she started to scream in order to make them leave. And she starts to scream, yes, and she starts to scream, wah! Wow! No! Ah! And all the policemen, they were bad policemen, children. They weren't good policemen. They were in Russia. They were not like here where we live. They start saying, oh, my ears! Oh, she's screaming so loud. Why is she screaming so loud? Get her to be quiet. Let her be quiet. And she kept on screaming, wah! Wah! And the Frierdica Rebbe said, you came and you pushed everyone in the middle of the night and you scared her. If you want me to get my mommy quiet, my old mommy, Rebbetzin Shterna Sarah, quiet, you've got to go and wait in the corner and I'll keep her quiet. And so the police said, okay, we'll go and we'll keep her. You keep her quiet. And so they go in the corner and they wait by the door. And Rebbetzin Shterna Sarah kept on crying, no, oh no, why did the police come? And while she was doing that, children, Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka, see, here's a picture of Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka. She's the Frierdica Rebbe's daughter. And at the time, she was engaged. She was a bride. She was engaged to the Rebbe. See, Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka would marry the Rebbe. But at this point, they were just Chassan and Kala. They were engaged. They weren't yet married. And so I'm going to use a bride puppet to show you Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka.
No, it's a Kala.
It's a Kala, yeah. And Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka said, oh no, they're going to find all those papers. So you know what she did? While the bad Russian soldiers were waiting at the door, she runs to where all those papers were, where they didn't see where they were, and she took all the papers. And in the house, there was a fireplace to keep the house warm. And she goes to the fireplace, like this. And she took all the papers that had everybody's names of all the Hasidim and the Rebbes and the rabbis who were teaching Jewish children Torah, and where all the secret schools were. She took them all and she threw them all into the fire, and she burnt it all. And in this way, she saved the lives of hundreds and hundreds of Jewish people who were secretly teaching Jewish children Torah. And she said, oh, Baruch Hashem. But then she said, oh no, we have to warn all the other Jews living here that the police have come for my father, for the Frierdica Rebbe, because now that they came to catch the Frierdica Rebbe, they would come for the rest of the Yidden, the rest of the Rebbes all over the place. And as she was looking out the window...
And that's the little baby.
Yes, and to see the babies. As she looked out the window, she suddenly saw her chassid, the Rebbe. Remember I told you she was engaged to the Rebbe? She saw the Rebbe. He was coming down the road toward her house. And Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka thinks, oh no, anyone who's walking into our house, the police are arresting them too, because they know that whoever is coming into this house, the people who love the Frierdica Rebbe, my daddy, and are teaching him Torah. And she said, oh no. So she calls out the window to her chassan, to the man she's engaged to the Rebbe, and she says to him, she called him by his last name, she says, Schneerson, guests have arrived. She couldn't say, there's police here, there's Russian police, run away. She just said, guests have arrived. And the Rebbe looked out and he immediately understood, oh no, the NKVD, the bad policemen, the Russian soldiers have come, many of them have come to arrest the Frierdica Rebbe, yeah. And instead of coming in, the Rebbe tried to turn around. But there was a policeman right there outside the Frierdica Rebbe's house. And he goes, hey, hello, what are you doing here? What do you want? And you know what the Rebbe did? The Rebbe pretended he was drunk. He started to go, hiccup, oh, I had so much wine to drink. And the police said, oh, he's just a drunkard. He had too much wine to drink. Go away. We can't have any drunkards here. And chased away the Rebbe. And as soon as the Rebbe was out of sight, the Rebbe ran and he went to all the other Jewish people's houses, all the other Rebbes who would teach Torah. And he warned them. And he said, careful, go run. They've come to arrest the Frierdica Rebbe. Quickly go into hiding. And all the Hasidim said, thank you. We'll say Tehillim and we'll go hide. Children, that night, the bad Russian police who wouldn't let Jewish children know about Hashem, they took the Frierdica Rebbe. They came in cars and they came many of them. And they said, we're here to stop the Frierdica Rebbe because he's teaching Jewish children Torah and he's made secret Jewish schools. We're taking him to a big prison. And they took him to a very big prison. Children, it was very sad because they took the Frierdica Rebbe and they hurt him very badly. And they kept hitting him and hurting him. And they kept saying to him, tell us, who are all the secret teachers? Where are all the secret teachers who teach Torah? Okay, we're going to use him for the Frierdica Rebbe. And the Frierdica Rebbe would refuse. He'd say, no, I'm not telling. I will never tell anything. I didn't do anything wrong. And they said, we know you have secret Jewish schools and you're teaching Jewish children Torah. And you've got so many hundreds of Jewish schools. We just don't know where they are or who the teachers are. So you tell us or we're going to hurt you with our big gun. The Frierdica Rebbe said, I'm not afraid of your guns. I'm not afraid of anything. And even if I have to give up my life to teach Torah, I will do that. I promised my father when I was only 15 years old that I would have Mesiras Nefesh, self-sacrifice, to keep teaching Jewish children Torah. Because when Jewish children learn Torah, that's the only way that we know that Judaism will continue. If we stop teaching children Torah, chas v'chalila, then they don't know how to be Jewish when they're big. And then they can't continue being Jewish. And the Russians said, that's it. We're going to sentence you to the opposite of life, to the firing squad. They were going to, it was very sad. At first they said they were going to make the Frierdica Rebbe nifter. They were going to make him pass away with their big guns. And then they said, you know what? We'll just send you to Siberia for hard labor for 10 years. This way, you'll work so hard, you won't have time to teach Torah. And then they said, you know what? We'll change it again. We'll change it to only 3 years in Siberia. And still you'll work so hard. You're such an old man and we hit you so badly. You got so many boo-boos, you won't be able to teach Torah. And then they said, you know what? All the way from the top ministers of the Russian government, they said, that's it. We decided you should just leave and go away from Russia and just don't be here anymore. And Kinderlach, the Frierdica Rebbe, leaves Russia on Beis Gimel Tammuz. It's today. Today's Gimel Tammuz. It's the day when the Frierdica Rebbe got saved. When Baruch Hashem, the decree of him,
birthday today.
He got away from the bad Russians children and he uprooted communism. Communism, children, was a movement that said you can't teach about God. You can't teach about Hashem. And the Frierdica Rebbe said, no, I will fight it. Everyone needs to know that there is one Hashem who created the whole world and who's watching over us and he loves us. And children, eventually, the Frierdica Rebbe comes to the United States of America. It took him a long time to travel It was in the middle of World War II when he finally made it to America. He traveled for many months and he was very tired. And he arrived by his new house, 770 Eastern Parkway. The Frierdica Rebbe came to 770, his new house. And everybody was so happy. And they said, oh, we're so pleased. We're so pleased that the Rebbe came. And they said, good, now he'll be able to rest, especially because it's so late at night. And after all his troubles of running away from the communists and then running away from the Nazis, he finally made it, Baruch Hashem, to America where he is safe. So we're going to make him rest. But you know what the Frierdica Rebbe said? The Frierdica Rebbe said, 1 minute, is there a yeshiva here in America? Is there a Taim Chait Mimim here in America that teaches Chassidus? And the people said, no, there's no school for the boys here. And certainly nothing for the girls. And the Frierdica Rebbe said, Chas v'shalom, I will not go to sleep until we make a school for all the Jewish boys and the Jewish girls to learn Torah. And people said to him, oh, Rebbe, you don't understand. America is different. Over here, people just care about being rich and making money. Everybody sends their kids to public school here. Nobody cares about keeping Torah and mitzvot. The people here are different. And the Jewish people, yeah, that's what they thought. And the Jewish people said to the Frierdica Rebbe, they said, yeah, Frierdica Rebbe, you're wasting your time here in America. Nobody cares about Torah and mitzvot here in the United States. See, there isn't even any yeshivot, any big Jewish schools for the children. And the Frierdica Rebbe said, Chas v'shalom, America is nit anderish. America isn't any different. Just like we kept Torah and mitzvot in Europe and in Russia and in Israel and in other countries. Here in America, we're going to grow and become strong and teach lots of Torah. We're going to spread Torah and mitzvot to the whole world from here. And the Frierdica Rebbe said, I am not going to sleep till we open a yeshiva. And everybody thought, oh, Frierdica Rebbe is just joking. But he wasn't. He wouldn't go into his bed and he wouldn't go to sleep. And it was late at night. And they said, oh no, we better do something because the Frierdica Rebbe isn't going to sleep. Yes, he said that the only way he'll go to sleep is if we open a yeshiva. And he wants us to open one right here, right now, today. Children, they went from door to door. And they knocked on people's houses, even though it was late at night. And the people said, yes, what is it? What do you want? And they would tell them, please, can you send your children to yeshiva, to our yeshiva? We're going to make a Jewish school that teaches about Hashem and about Torah and mitzvot and about Mashiach. And they said, oh, but my son goes to public school. And they said, please, the Frierdica Rebbe won't go to sleep until we have a yeshiva. So they said, okay. And the children, shh. And they said, okay. And that night, they got 3 students. They got 3 young boys who came and they started the yeshiva. And you know what, children? Just like the Frierdica Rebbe said, it grew and it grew. He made a school for boys, Taim Chait Mimim, and he made a school for girls, Beis, Rivka, yes. But even if it's not necessarily called those names, the Frierdica Rebbe made lots and lots of Jewish schools. Children, eventually, 770 got thousands and thousands and thousands of students and rabbis and chassidim. And they all became shluchim. And they went all over the world to teach everyone about Hashem and His Torah and to bring Mashiach now. So Kinderlach, I want you to remember that the Frierdica Rebbe was Meiser Nefesh. He gave his life with self-sacrifice in any part of the world where he was, whether he was in Russia or in Poland, and when he came to America too. But it wasn't just to stay in those places, it was to spread all over the world. The Frierdica Rebbe gave his life with self-sacrifice to teach Torah and mitzvahs to everyone, but specifically to who? Children. Specifically to the
Children.
To the children. He understood that the most important thing is that we teach our kinderlach Torah and mitzvahs, that we do the 12 Torah psukim, and we give tzedakah every day, and we daven, we say brachos before we eat. Of course, you Jewish children are going to bring Mashiach. So today, your Gimel Tammuz, which is the day of the Frierdica Rebbe's liberation, the day he was saved, and his life got saved today. Today is a special day to take on new resolutions, to take on to fabring, and to take on a hachlata taiva, to take on a good decision and say, you know what? Now I'm going to do something extra good in Torah and mitzvahs, and in Hashem all our Torah and mitzvahs. Hashem will see all that, and Hashem will bring for us Mashiach now.